So if you want a plant that can last for a while and is also really fun to grow, I'd highly recommend asparagus. But you're like, bro, how do you grow this plant, man? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you grow said plant in your own garden. This plant works best above 6A, so let's begin. Alright, so if you want to know where you can find seeds, you can find them at like most farming stores, you know, like Tractor Supply, especially at the seed area. They're really common there. Oh my god, these bugs are swarming me. So I'd recommend going to those stores to find them, because that's where you'll most likely find them. So yeah, they're typically around $3, so they're not that expensive, and they can grow happily for about 14 years if you treat them properly. Alright, so now that you got your seeds, you typically want to plant them sometime in the fall or early spring. So like, you know, like September, October, or you know, like April, May. So typically around, just look at your growing season and find out when you should most likely plant them. It'll likely tell you. And also, you want to make sure that they're between 1/4 and 3/4 inches deep in the ground. It'll tell you specifically in the seed packet most of the times. If it doesn't, then get another seed packet. Or find the middle between 1/4 and 3/4, which is 1/2. So plant 1/2 inch deep if it doesn't show anything. And also make sure the rows are 18 inches apart. I'm not talking about the plants themselves, I'm talking about the spacing between two rows. So one row contains maybe a couple plants, spaced 6 inches apart, which is the next tip. Space them each 6 inches apart. And then the second row is 18 inches from the first one, because, you know, roots and everything, they're all pretty annoying sometimes. And make sure that there's 3 inches of straw or mulch to protect them. But if you really don't want to do any of that stuff, just get some weed blocker. It works like a charm, and it keeps 98% of the weeds out of the garden. Oh my god. Alright, so now let's go on to basic care tips. So you can see this is the asparagus. This is not my garden. I'm down south right now. So yeah, what you really want to do is make sure you give them out of water, inch of water per week. They're less than strawberries, but more than some other plants I know. So yeah. And also make sure that you test the soil before you plant them. Not only so that way you know if your soil's fine and it doesn't, you know, contain any bad things in it. And that'll also help you determine how much fertilizer you need to apply to the plant, because if you give the type of plants wrong fertilizer, typically use 10-10-10 in low 6A near 5E, but that's just a growing zone thing, and it's also a thing applied to a lot of other things. Most people do use 10-10-10 fertilizer, so make sure you know what fertilizer you need for it, and don't just apply random fertilizer. Like, I could say 10-10-10, but that definitely doesn't apply to some of you. So if you apply 10-10-10 to a plant that shouldn't be applying with 10-10-10, well, you can kiss your plants goodbye, because it's never going to return. Alright, so sometimes it takes multiple years, and sometimes it just takes one season for asparagus to bloom. So you want to harvest lightly for about a week. So this plant, I don't know when it'll probably be ready. I don't know. I'm rarely down here, so I don't know, maybe about a couple months. So probably around fall is probably when I'm expecting them to be ready. And they're only going to harvest for about a week. And make sure each of the strands you harvest are only 6 to 10 inches long, sometimes more. If you let them grow for a bit longer, you'll notice what they're going to look like here. I'm putting an image right on screen that shows you exactly what they're going to look like. All right, so this is a little bit more of an optional thing, but it's a little bit more required than optional. So asparagus beetles, they're a threat. They're really annoying. Oh my god, they are not only prominent on asparagus, but a lot of other plants. And make sure that you know what you're doing, because this step requires a little bit of fire. And I'm not talking about it's a fire step. I mean it literally. You need to burn the whole damn plant sometimes. Now keep in mind, that's not all the time, but I'd say about 90% of the time that ends up happening. But don't worry, don't panic. You can still grow them mostly the next year. They're deep-rooted plants. It doesn't really affect the plant. It kills off the asparagus beetles. And you do them in February, if you're in a lower growing zone that gets snow in the winter then. If you're not, then find the best month that works for you. You could probably do research and find out which month works the best for you. And also, if you want to learn more about this, well, guess what you will have to do? You have to click on my channel, click the like and subscribe button. That's the only way you can see another one of my videos. You're probably going to never see my annoying voice again. And you'll either love that or you'll hate that. So click on the channel if you want to see more, and follow if you want to see even more.